Okay. Oh, this is gonna be a bit of an issue. Hi everybody, how you doing? So I'm dealing with a little bit of a problem right now, and I can actually describe the problem fairly accurately, but I know a lot of you are not gonna believe me, so please have an open mind on this. I am not trying to BS you. Okay, so the best way I can describe this is, remember when you were a little kid and you used to play that game with your friends or your siblings where you'd pretend the floor is lava? Remember that? That stupid game kids play, and you'd have to, like, jump from various, furniture to the next to not touch the floor, and if you touched the floor, you were out. Like, jump from the couch to the end table to the chifforobe to the Davenport, and you just screw up your entire parents' living room and they get pissed at you. Yeah, okay, so my floor is lava. I know what you're saying. Like, Matt, come on, your floor's not lava. You'd be passed out from the fumes, or your bed would be melting right now. I don't know what to tell you. My floor is lava. I don't know. I don't know how this crap happens. I foresee 4 possibilities, though. Sorry, 4 possibilities. Possibility number 1, I'm in some type of coma dream right now. In which case, that raises a whole bunch of other questions, like how long have I been in the coma? Like, was this whole YouTube thing part of my coma fantasy? Maybe I'm part of your coma fantasy. Did you ever think of that? Maybe you're in a coma right now, and this is some weird subconscious part of you that's trying to tell you something about yourself. Okay, that's one possibility. The second one is an enemy stando. So I haven't heard any boastful posing or monologuing anywhere, so I might want to throw that one out. The third one is that Shunsui Kyoraku's, Zanpakuto from Bleach is making children games a reality again. And the fourth possibility is Akainu's coming to kill me. Oh wait, no. If Akainu wants you dead, you're dead. You're not coming back from that. Like, if Akainu wants to hunt you down, you're not going to make it till sundown. He'll leave you alive just long enough to run in terror of him, so you have, like, that briefest moment of fear which gets him off on some visceral level, and then he'll just cap you. Okay. So anyway, welcome to a discussion video on the Magu-Magu No Mi, or the Magma-Magma fruit, wielded by the current Fleet Admiral Sakazuki, or Akainu, or Akainu. Actually, since he's the Fleet Admiral, does he still have the epithet of Red Dog? I wonder about that, because every time we see him now, he's usually just referred to as Sakazuki, right? I mean, in Sengoku, he was referred to as the Buddha, but usually people just call him Sengoku, so maybe it's like you relinquish your epithet when you become a Fleet Admiral, I don't know. But anyway, it's been a while since I've talked about the Admirals in just a focused video. They were actually some of the first characters I talked about when I started this whole One Piece part of my channel back in like late 2016, early 2017. I made the Admiral series, and I just wanted to talk about them again. So okay, let's do this little side project. Let's talk about their various devil fruits. And I thought Akainu's would be great to start, because we just got some new information from the Vivara card data book, which was released in the booster packs. You gotta collect all the trading cards to get all the information in the data book. Okay, Japan. And with the help of Artur over at Library of Ohara, links below, we got a translation here that says, from Sakazuki, his devil fruit boasts the highest offensive power amongst all devil fruits. Now, what that really refers to is a little bit ambiguous. I mean, I know it says right there, like, his is the absolute strongest, but I think what it might have been implying is that his devil fruit is just amongst the highest tier. When you're talking about devil fruits that have a really high destructive or offensive power, his isn't like the absolute strongest, but his is like on the same level as all the other ones that are really, really strong. Because, case in point, Whitebeard's Quake fruit. That is a fruit that Sengoku himself even came out and said has the capacity to destroy the world. And it's easy to see why. That's not even like a bluff or just like a hypothesis. His ability is literally to create massive earthquakes. So you could see, if somebody had that fruit that was just like a raving lunatic or got really pissed off and was just like, screw this! Bam! 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 And just started, causing like 10-point earthquakes all over the world and giant tsunamis. Like, it's easy to understand how that could just wipe out all life and possibly destroy the planet itself if it was just left unchecked. There's other ones that are really strong too. Like, I'm just gonna throw Eneru's Goro no Mi into the mix. I mean, Eneru was pretty much a lunatic. The dude wanted to go to a magical fairy kingdom, which was the moon, so cuckoo. But he wasn't crazy enough to just start, haphazardly sending down divine judgment on the Blue Sea. I mean, yeah, he did that with Skypiea, but, he didn't just like, I'm gonna start raining thunderbolts on the entire Blue Sea world. But if he would have done that, it would have caused a lot of mass damage. Somebody would have probably stopped him at some point, but, yeah, still very dangerous. So, yeah, that's the way I'm gonna take this, that Sakazuki's Magu-Magu No Mi isn't the absolute apex out of all of the fruits, but if, like, the Devil Fruit destructive capabilities were a pyramid, his would be, like, in the top, along with, like, Whitebeard's and and a few other choice ones that are like really highly destructive. So yeah, let's talk about magma. So I had to do some research on this today. Not a geologist, not really a fan of any of the earth sciences. I did have, there was an 8th grade class I took. The science class we had in 8th grade was all focused around specifically earth sciences, so like geology and all that stuff. So I had to go on what I remembered from that. Thanks, Miss Dickert. But yeah, magma, as it is not probably surprising to a lot of you, it's melted rocks. Okay, so there you go. You take a rock and you melt it and you get magma, right? Well, it's a little bit more complicated than that. I was actually surprised to find out there were multiple kinds of magma. I thought magma was just this general thing, that when rock gets hot enough, it becomes this red-hot, goopy, melty stuff that you don't touch because your skin will melt off, right? And it outputs fumes that'll, knock you out and kill you. That's the way I always viewed magma. But no, there's different kinds of magma, and if you just actually stop to think really quick, if magma is melted rock, then let's say you have a rock, but it has different minerals that make it up. Those minerals are all going to have different melting points. So you might not get all of it melted down into magma at once, maybe only partially. And so that's what I was reading about today. And so the interesting thing about Akainu's fruit is that he doesn't turn into rocks. He just turns into straight up magma, okay? And on top of that, a lot of smoke and fumes just spew off of the dude whenever he does that, whenever he's activating his fruit, okay? So, the only reason I'm bringing up the whole minerals and rocks thing is that depending on the kind of rock that's being turned into magma, that's going to depend on what kind of fumes are being outputted, the consistency and the temperature in some cases and all that stuff. So that's the reason it's a little bit iffy, but suffice it to say, I don't think Oda went too overboard on that. Like, we're not going to find out, like, the exact, rocks and stuff that it's come from. It's more about just, he could turn into freaking magma. It's really hot, and it's even stated here in the data book booster pack that he also has really high mobility with it, because think about it this way. Think about his ability as less of a magma man in terms of just the goopy stuff itself, and more of an eruption man or a volcanic man. I think that's a better way of looking at the motive for his fruit. So, whenever he turns into magma, he's literally erupting magma from various parts of his body. So he can do that with his legs, and then rocket himself right into the air and propel him, and then he could do it again as well. So I think that's more of what Oda was going for here. Not just like, I can turn my body into really hot goop and just glop, glop, glop. Something that we don't really get to see a lot of. We see people standing next to Akainu all the time. It's just something that was never really directly referenced as the gases and the fumes he's outputting, because we see it whenever he does it. The black smoke is just flying off of him, so you figure if you're around Akainu and that freaking smoke hits you right in the face, you'd figure you'd probably get a little bit woozy, lose consciousness, die from that, because most of the gases that are outputted by magma, you're talking, H2O is a lot of components. So you got hydrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, fluorine gas, chlorine gas. That's the kind of stuff that's a sulfur. That's the kind of stuff that's coming off of magma. So you don't want to be close to Akainu when he's erupting, so to speak. Not just because if you get close enough to him, I can imagine your clothes would just start to ignite just from the sheer heat that's outputted off of him, but also because the fumes would make you really dizzy, and we know that that's a part of it. Okay, so that's understandable why it's stated to be one of the most destructive fruits. And also, you gotta figure, if you're fighting against a human, it would be one thing if Akainu was going up against, like, I don't know, a giant dragon of mythical lore or something, but who knows if something like that exists in One Piece. But if you're just going up against a regular human, whether or not they know hockey, I mean, the dude literally can just magma fist and just tear through your flesh. I mean, could hockey stop that? Conceivably, if it's really freak show strong, okay? But you wouldn't be able to like let's think of someone like Tashigi and Smoker. They know armament hockey, but they're not like masters of it yet. They can just, I'm sure Tashigi can armament up her sword, and she can, she cut Monet and everything. She can do that stuff, but it's not even close to being that higher level. Smoker could armament up his body as much as he wants, but Akainu is he's still gonna just tear right through that with one fist. Just ask Ace. And by the way, regarding Ace, let me just get this out of the way, because I've mentioned this before. I've been aware of this fact for a while. But the reason that it was stated why Akainu was able to injure Ace was, mine is lava, yours is fire. They're both devil fruits that are focused around flames and heat. Ace can generate fire. Well, guess what? So can Akainu as a byproduct. He can generate magma. Anything the magma touches is going to catch on fire. Anything surrounding what the magma touches is going to catch on fire. And plus the fumes and everything. So it's just kind of like, my fruit is the superior version of yours. So that's why, even though you're a Logia, I could still injure you when I, use my Logia powers to pierce you, okay? Now, another reason why Ace got fisted the way that he so splendidly did was he was trying to protect Luffy, right? That's another thing, okay? But it definitely seemed to be like, the logic here is that lava is better than fire, or it's hotter than fire. And I'll admit, at the time when I was reading it, back when I was in high school, that made perfect sense. Because I was like, oh, okay, yeah, lava's definitely hotter than fire. Because I'm thinking of fire in the context of like what is this, a $1 lighter I bought at Dollar Tree? Just, okay, yeah, magma's probably hotter than this. And yeah, it most likely is. The thing is, though, it depends on what you're burning to make the fire. Okay, because, yeah, fire, of course, has a spectrum. We've seen blue fire and eventually white hot fire. And there's even a thing called, oh, screw you, I'm not even going to try to attempt to pronounce that. Actually, you know what? Hold on, I will try. Dick-Yan-O-Acetylene. Dick-Yan-O-Acetylene. Yeah, okay, let's go with that, I guess. Anyway, this is something that is carbon and nitrogen burning at a ratio of, I think it's C4N2. Okay, so 4 parts carbon, 2 parts nitrogen, right? And when that's burning, that can reach temperatures upwards of over 8,000 and possibly up to 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, with that being said, how hot exactly can magma get? Well, that depends on the type of magma. There's 3 different types of magma. We have basaltic magma, andesitic magma, and rhylotic magma. Rhylotic, isn't that the name of a Pokemon? Rhylotic. I'm pretty sure that's the name of a Pokemon. But out of all of these different types, the only thing we have to really focus on here is the first one, basaltic, because that's the hottest kind that can get up to temperatures of over 1,200 degrees Celsius or around 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. But still, hottest magma, 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit versus this diplopsacetine thing where if you burn this, it can reach temperatures of over 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, I think the one definitely trumps the other. It really makes me think that if Ace would have trained with his fruit more, because remember, Ace only had the powers of the Magma-Magma No Mi for like less than 3 years. From the time he left Fuchsia Village, he didn't have it. He got it somewhere in the East Blue on that random island with Mass Deuce. Didn't take very long for him to get the fruit powers, but he still only had them for like, 2-3 years, something along those lines. Luffy, on the other hand, he had the Gomu-Gomu no Mi for over 10. But anyway, yeah, my point is, Ace didn't really have enough time to master it to the point where it was awakened, or to the point where maybe if Ace really did keep that fruit, maybe we'll see this with Sabo, because Sabo has it right now. But maybe he'll go up through the different spectrum, like Sabo will eventually be able to harness blue fire. Wouldn't that be cool? That would be cool. There's no reason for you to respond. That would Sabo going around with his pipe, laying pipe with blue fire, showing Azula who's boss. That would be awesome. Anyway, back to Akainu for a second. So maybe it's anime, it's manga, so maybe Oda could make it like, yeah, I know in real life magma can only get a few thousand degrees hot, but it's anime, so there's nothing hotter in the world than Akainu. I mean, he could always do that. He could say, like, Akainu, when he's all fired up, so to speak, and he's got the magma going, and he's erupting like crazy. Yeah, it's hotter than anything. I'm like, all right, I guess I could buy into that as well there. Now, also, here's the thing you have to understand about Akainu. He's a hot-headed guy. Yo-ho-ho-ho. Sorry, that was wrong. He's a hot-headed guy. He's quick to anger. We've seen this. He has the sense of absolute justice, which is basically like a sort of very black and white view of the world. Pirates are evil, they need to be punished. Marines are good, that's it. Or something like cowardice is something that needs to be punished, and bravery needs to be rewarded. He's a very black and white kind of guy, okay? So be careful when you're around him. But my point here is, despite all of that, he's not an idiot, okay? And the reason that that's important is because someone like him would definitely know that his fruit has to be used extremely carefully. Because imagine it, if Akainu if he was just a complete slave to his anger, and at Marineford when, Whitebeard was attacking and they were trying to get Ace back and everything, and Akainu just lost his shit, and just boom, and just erupting, throwing magma everywhere, all of the Marines' forces would be in danger, along with all the Pirates' forces. Now, he did do a few things that were really dangerous, like when Jozu grabbed that giant block of ice and hurled it at them, and then Akainu used his what was it, the Red Dog technique or something like that, or just his Magma of Great Eruption, whatever it was called, some badass name, and he just, boom! He destroyed the ice block, which the ice block exploded, probably killed a few people, and then the magma rained down and probably killed a few people. But what I'm saying here is, he's not just going around the battlefield just washing the whole thing in magma, which he totally could be doing, alright? He had to be very careful for not wiping out his own men, as well as not completely, melting the city of Marineford. Because going back to the whole thing, if someone was crazy and insane and had this fruit, whatever island they were on would be, submerged in the ocean by nightfall, okay? So, my point is, what would happen if he really did go all out? What would happen if he didn't have to worry about a bunch of his men around him? What would happen if he was fighting in a place that was like an empty wasteland or something?
Oh, there is no way in hell I'm gonna let you be the new fleet admiral, Aokiji.
Oh no, what the... We already did that joke! We only have 2 episodes of Sock Puppet Theater. We're already running reruns for them. Oh, okay, whatever. Well, we need to go back into doing Sock Puppet Theater. I haven't done them in a while. I need to get back to that. But anyway, okay, so the point I'm trying to make here is the fight between Aokiji and Akainu. They were on Punk Hazard, and they were staring each other down, and they decided pretty early on in the fight, they're gonna do this all out. Because Akainu and Aokiji, they are both most likely awakened Logia users. I think everybody can understand they're awakened, considering that their fight literally permanently changed the weather all around Punk Hazard. Half of it is now a permanent Arctic wasteland. The other half is a volcanic nightmare hellscape. So when you're an awakened Logia, you can literally warp the weather. I think that would be appropriate. It's never been directly stated. Oda's never come out and said that's what an awakened Logia does. But I think we can put 2 and 2 together here, okay? Maybe Raijin Island wasn't, the result of a former user of Eneru's fruit. I don't know. But my point is, during that fight, they went all out of respect for the position of Fleet Admiral, and honestly, I think out of respect for each other. You know, Akainu and Aokiji, they did not see eye to eye. Their ideas of justice were literally on the opposite spectrum here, where Akainu was absolute justice. I'll take out as many civilians as I have to, as long as this island is safe. That kind of logic. And whereas Aokiji's was more moral justice, taking morals into account and all that stuff. But the two of them were part of the Marines for a very long time. The two of them definitely respected to each other. So they went all out there, okay? And we saw what happened with that. So at the end of the day, and this is true for all of the admirals, this isn't just true for Akainu, but at the end of the day, if they went balls out, Marineford would look like Punk Hazard right now. Or, on one side of this battle, like if Aokiji went all out, it would look like the Arctic Wasteland. Then you get to devil fruits like Kizaru's, which is the ability to manipulate light, and you're thinking like, okay, how would that affect the weather? Plasma? I don't know, maybe? Well, no, it's not really even plasma, it's like photons. Like, I don't know, if Akainu if Kizaru went all out and crazy, which he would never do because he's 420 blaze it all the time, but if he were to go all out and he awakened his fruit, would that just create, maybe it would create like a second sun or something, not like a sun permanently, like a sun, like hydrogen and nuclear fusion going on, but like just a glowing orb that would never go out, and so an island would just be basked in daytime all the time. I don't think anything like that exists in One Piece, though. I'm getting off the rails again. We'll be getting to Kizaru and Aokiji's videos later on, but yeah, but at the end of the day, Akainu was capable of a hell of a lot more than what we saw. So to end us out here, I just thought it would be kind of funny to talk about all the neat things that you could do with the Magu-Magu No Mi beyond, combat. Okay, if you had the Magma-Magma fruit, which is a fruit I can imagine would probably be more of a detriment in your everyday life, it's kind of like having super strength. I mean, I think at some point in our lives, if you're a nerd and you're a fan of like comic books or anime, I think at some point in your life you'd want to have super strength, but really think about it for a second. In your boring existence, which I'm sure most of us have a rather boring existence, what good would super strength really have? I mean, like, maybe if you worked in construction or something, you'd be able to lift steel beams up, that'd be cool. But normally I would just be like, yay, I can lift up my bed to clean under it. I don't have to jack up my car when changing my oil, that kind of stuff. I mean, it would be convenient, but it really wouldn't be whoa, So if you had the Magma-Magma fruit, what would you do? Well, for the one thing, you would never have to worry about cooking your food. Like, I'm someone that's actually eaten raw meat before, okay? Not even on a dare. I was just an idiot. But, I'd never have to worry about that again. I could just literally... I wouldn't have to do it directly, though, because I would be afraid that if I took, like, a raw turkey leg or something and just turned my hand into magma and just... I would be worried that, like, sulfur and fluorine gas and everything would get mixed in there. I was like, oh, man, this is gonna be delicious. But hey, maybe if you have the powers of that magma fruit, maybe you have inherent immunities to it. Because if chlorine gas is spewing off of Akainu constantly, he's inhaling that, he's not dying, so maybe you're immune to that. But I would you could always, put some magma to, light a fire wherever you want, because you figure you can get some kindling together and just literally just 1 or 2 drops of magma on the kindling and just... That'd probably be enough to light a fire wherever you're at. That'd be cool. But okay, that's the obvious stuff. Starting a fire whenever you want, cooking your food. I know what I would do with it. Okay, I'm a YouTuber. I love, filming skits and everything. If I had the powers of the Magma-Magma fruit, I would film my own disaster movie on a razor-thin budget. Kind of like The Day After Tomorrow. Think The Day After Tomorrow, except instead of the ocean covering the world, it's magma covering the world. And we don't have to worry about it like, oh man, that CG magma looks fake. Oh no, it's all real, baby. So who wants to work on my project? I'll just call it Magmatopia. Okay, the title might have to be workshopped a touch, but something magma in the title. Geography is magma, that sort of thing. So if you want to come on board, come on down. I'll have anybody that wants to come and work on the project, but do be aware there will be a lot of magma on the set at all times. So that might be difficult, but it would be the most realistic disaster movie ever. Because it might actually end the world. It might actually end to the end of the world. Okay, well anyway, that's the video. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you learned something today about Akainu, or Magma, or whatever that is. Yeah. Next time we'll be talking about Aokiji's chili fruit, which is always a fun... His is always confusing, because the literal translation of the hi no mi is the chili fruit. It's not the ice fruit. It's the ability to just, like, lower temperatures and make ice. But then there's other times in the series where it does seem like he can just make ice. I don't know. We'll talk about it when we get there. And then after that, of course, will be Kizaru's Pika no Mi. And I guess I've never done a video on Fujitori's. We don't know what it's called, but it's probably like the Gravity no Mi or something like that. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Tekking101 signing out. And oh, right, I still have to deal with this. You know what? It's fine. It's fine. It'll be okay. I'll just have to walk on my furniture for the rest of my life. It's okay. I've gotten through worse. I used to be a trapeze artist back in the day, actually. Or wait, am I thinking of Robin? I think I might be thinking of Robin. Bye, everybody!